What's up, guys? Just here by my channel. Tonight, we review for Aew Dynamite. So let's get to it then. Alright, the show kicks off with Brian Danielson has a new role, which is a new commentary role and stuff. So, yeah. So, anyways. So, the first match coming up is a grudge match. Heyman and Page versus Josh Alexander. Alright, so, theme for alright, that's what gets ready for this one. Alright, so Don Callis is the special guest on this one. So, okay, the bell sounds and warning. As soon as this advertised grudge match gets started with a bang, as Heyman and Alexander charge each other with strikes, with Page sending Alexander to the corner before the ref has to intervene. Heyman backs up and this gives Josh an opening. He doesn't give him an opening for a long, however, as the champ manages to send him back to the corner for a chop. He stays on the attack by dragging Alexander along the ropes as the crowd breaks out into a super loud fuck down Callis. Meanwhile, the walking weapon is sent into the ropes by the purveyor of cowboy shit, but Alexander turns things around with an ankle lock before Page breaks free, sending Alexander to outside. To outside the process, Heyman comes out after him, but Alexander sends him into the barricade. Alexander hoists the Heyman up for a brainbuster onto the apron before sliding into the ring. He hits the ropes but gets caught in the ropes. When Heyman dodges and he brings Alexander to the outside looking for an advantage, the Downcast family member breaks away but sent into the crowd by the champ. Page brings Alexander back into the ring but is caught in the corner as Josh goes after the eyes. Page fights back with some chops before being sent to the ropes by Alexander. Alexander attacks the champ's face before the ref intervenes. Josh stays on the attack until Page manages to send him out of the ring, standing up for a moonsault before Josh rolls back in the ring to evade whatever danger. Josh leaves the ring to get a breather on the announce table. On that note, Shoshi gears into a match commercial break, and so that challenge continues. So when the show returns, we see vicious spots on the barricades at ringside lead to the finish, which sees Heyman avoids a C4 spike and hits a buckshot lariat for the winner. So winner is Heyman and Page. Alright, so then once the match wraps up, Page celebrates as the Doncaster family regroups on the ramp and retreats to the back. Heyman grabs a microphone, addressing everything he's done to win and retain the championship. He says the most important word in all elite wrestling is wrestling. He says that is because that is what Page is here to do, because he is all elite wrestling's men's world. Shit, I'm sorry guys, my think he's on lagging my camera and stuff. So anyways, he's all elite wrestling men's world champion. Callis returns to ringside alongside by Kyle Fletcher, who says Page's words are sentimental but will not matter because the Don Callis family and the Protostar run AEW. This is a more pressing matter as Fletcher threw out a challenge to Page on Collision. Wade's response page says he's lucky he wasn't live flighted out of this venue after what he did, but he understands that if Kyle wants to make a point, he can get in the ring and speak to him directly. Fletcher does exactly that. He sells in the ring. The two go back and forth with the Heyman giving Fletcher a lot of credit by criticizing him for allowing himself Duncast time he's ultimately not ready. Fletcher says he's heard that before, but he is ready. Heyman says he can get a shot at the AEW World Championship at AEW All Out. Toronto Page says there's one thing he needs that for Fletcher to do himself to earn it and lead the Don Callis family and others in the back. Fletcher says he's on. Alright, so MJF opened a challenge for Mark Briscoe and stuff, which was last Saturday. He says he opened his challenge and stuff, says let's do it. And so then that's a commercial break. Then John Moxley offered to Young Bucks, which was earlier today, says we had to do this because the guy were in the money and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, so next match coming up is Mercedes Moné and Emi Sakura versus Axe Windsor and Rio. Back in the ring, we get the bell. You see that bear way out. And alright. Alright, so the bell sounds good for Moné. Okay, so we get the bell going. Monet and Rio kick things off for respective teams, and at the onset was instead the champ immediately tags in Shakira, hope I said that right, who goes after the women who she trained. Emmy lands some hard shots until the inaugural women's world champion strikes back, sending Shakira to Rose for a Tiger feint kick. I'm sorry, tag made to Windsor. Windsor hits a leg sweep on Emmy for 2 counts. She stays on the attack as Rio comes in for heads on approaching Monet before attacking both their opponents. And of course, she gets a single leg grab on Emmy, but Monet slides into the ring to pour her towards the Rose. Regardless, Windsor ends up getting the drop on both women. Rio falls with a dive of her own for a big pop from the Philly crowd. On that note, social gears into Dimension Country Bands as action continues. When Monet is the legal woman for her tag as she goes after Rio. She sends Rio to the corner for a running kick. And a 2 count. Monet stays on the attack until the latter knocks Emmy off the apron, dodging the TBS. Alright, so from there, she makes a tag. She goes after Monet with a fairy offense, sending her to the mat before Mercedes evades a sharpshooter. Windsor gets Monet to the ropes, sending her up for a double foot stomp of sorts by Rio. Off a tag, she pulls Monet to the center of the ring for a cover, only getting a near fall due to the pause. Mercedes makes a tag to Sakura for a double team that gets the cover, but Windsor breaks it up. She sends Monet out of the ring as Rio with authority. After that, she sweeps Emmy out from under her for a 2 count as the action continues. She then sets up for a single leg Boston crab as Windsor keeps Monet from breaking the hold. Eventually, Emmy has no choice but to tap out, giving Windsor Rio the win. So winners are Alex, Windsor, and Rio. And then we see Ricochet coming out backstage. Oh, yeah, talking backstage stuff, talking about the her second and all that stuff. And yeah, so they had that match next later on. So then FTR sends a message when the show returns from break with greatly extended videos, stuff, blah, blah. Alright, so FTR, alright, once a bit wrapped up, we head to ringside where Stokely Hathaway is on the microphone, walking out with FTR duo Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler by his side. Big Stones takes umbrage with the video package. Excuse me, as he talks about FTR winning at AEW All Out Toronto. Stoke addresses the comments people have made toward him. Dax cuts in, challenging anyone in the crowd, or at least daring anyone to get into it. They turn their attention to one man in particular until they get into it with the camera operators. Nearby officials come rushing to break it as they pull FTR away. Alright, so next match is Ricochet versus Shelton Benjamin. From there, we see the blah blah blah. Alright, so we see Ricochet. Okay. Stuff. Next, alright, Ricochet is outside. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm trying to skip the the entrance part. So, alright, the bell rings. Official run. This one, as soon as it does, we see Ricochet on the offense, landing a flurry on Benjamin before taking him down to the mat. He leads the ring. I'm sorry, guys, my stupid camera. As he leaves the ring to pose and say hello to Taz before going for a 50 splash, Benjamin sends Ricochet out of the ring before attacking him against the barricades, culminating in a tag of sorts that sends Ricochet onto a guardrail. The Gash comes back to the ring as Ricochet tries to fight back, only to take a crotch throw by Benjamin. From there, we see Ricochet go for the rose as Benjamin pulls at him, eventually shoving him out of the ring. He then falls out behind, only to be sent face first into an announce table. But Ricochet follows up by sending Benjamin into a guardrail with the authority. On that note, social gears into Dimension Country break. As action continues, we return. Ricochet is on the top rope waiting for Benjamin to get up. When he does, Benjamin avoids his high-risk attempt. Ricochet catches Benjamin coming off the ropes. He then pounds him on the back with the forearms. Benjamin begins showing signs of life before ultimately fighting back into competitive form. Ricochet looks for a springboard spot off the apron, but leaps into the waiting arms of Benjamin, who hits a forearm throw, whatever. As the action continues, we see Ricochet pull out and introduce a pair of scissors as Ricochet takes another walloping and clotheslines by Benjamin. The chaos surrounding allow this Gates of Agony to come up for distraction with the outside headbutt, leading to Ricochet rolling up Benjamin for the 1-2-3. So when there's Ricochet, then we see Hook video package thing. Then Hook has a thing to say about Joe taking his place and stuff. because of the belts and stuff. So and Hook says Hook says he's gonna stand on his own and stuff. So anyway, so next match coming up is Philadelphia Street Fight times Tony Storm versus Sky Blue. All right, show returns on Sky. Talk about the what's next for them and stuff. Then from there, we see Tony Storm come out. All right. All right. So, anyways, she does a Sandman thing and stuff, which is funny. So, anyways, I have a Street Fight coming off. So, here we go. Storm goes to town on Blue with the candlestick for a near fall. Sky leaves the ring as Storm goes for a hip attack through the ropes, only for Blue to land a shot to the backside with a pan. She gets back in the ring and uses a staple gun on Tony's chest, but only gets a near fall of her own. Before Storm uses the staple gun on Blue, the champ poses on the apron with a candlestick. On that note, Show gears into match. Kosher Brass match continues. When Show returns, we see the two women go at it on the barricade, dropping down on it before striking train strikes back and forth. Sky grabs what appears to be a fan sign, nearly cracking over the head of Storm to drop her to the floor as we cover that's as covered with a street sign. Instead, Sky backs away as Storm uncovers a table at ringside to reveal a whole set of mouse traps. All right, the champ munches on a slice of cheese before handing it over to the announce team and catches Blue to put her on hand on a mouse trap. Sky gets riled up enough to strike back, sending Storm onto the table and the traps. The table doesn't break, but Sky pays little mind as she brings the champ back to the ring. Storm is in the corner and fights back, grabbing a chair. Blue popped against her for a DT and a 2 count. Storm grabs another weapon. This electric fly swatter as she zaps Blue with it before sending her to the corner. She grabs a trash can to the set on the canvas. This gives Sky an opening to break away from the power bomb on the trash can, but only gets her a 2 count. Storm dodges a code Blue to land a chair shot on Sky's head. She grabs a sign she pulled from ringside, propping up against the face of Blue for a hip attack. Storm 0 later, and Storm wins. So winner is Time Tony Storm. Then once the match wraps up, we see Tom Storm's victory. Celebration cut short as a triangle comes rushing to the ring where they begin a post-match attack. The AEW Women's World Champion. This leads to Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter coming out to make the save. Unfortunately, things don't go as planned for Statlander in here as things fall apart when Hayter lays out Statlander by mistake, allowing Julia Hart to drop Hayter and sending her out of the ring. Back in the ring, Declan goes after the champ with the spear. Then Renee Paquette interviews Willow not getting a hard Cameron. She says, well, watch your back and stuff. So, and then we go commercial break. All right, so next match is the main event, $500,000 10-man tag team main event. Brodeo and the Ops versus Dev Riders and the Young Bucks. Main event time, come on first. All right, then Torres coming. Cover drop, blah, blah, blah. Alright, that's it. Okay, so here we go. The bell sounds. We see Nick, Jackson, and Bandido kick things out respective teams. Nick gets a 1 count twice in a row before taking Bandido down with the arm drag. I'm sorry. And then I could use scoring thing go down. Alright, so anyways, Nick continues to onslaught with the near fall after blocking sunset flip and getting an assist before the ref notices the help. Things break down as Brody makes a tag, landing some hard shots before tagging Bandido back in. A quick dance break leads to Nick getting out of the way for a tag to Yuta. Just as Samoa Joe gets a tag of his own, Joe lays in some kicks up here before locking in a toe hold, but Yuta makes it to Rose for a break. Joe brings Wheeler to the corner for some jabs and a strikes before Yuta fights back enough for attack to Claudio. Casanova lays in to whip the wrestler, but excuse me, that was a weird sound. But the wrestler, but gets caught in the corner, allowing Shibata to land a running drop kick, leaning on. I'm sorry, guys. Sleeper hold and cinch as chaos. This culminates in the Bucks getting rallied on the outside with a dive by King, who brings them back in the ring for Haas to lay in some damage. Shibata goes after Claudio some more before tagging him. Bandito, who lays a dive on the outside. Bandito then heads up the top rope where he leaps off and connects with a huge frog splash. Then that gets the RH World Champion a near fall on Castleway. Aldano Shoshi gets mentioned quickly and continues, blah blah. Alright, when the show returns after several more minutes of back and forth action, we see the Young Bucks getting the pin on Bandito for the win. So Nick and Matt Jackson immediately grab the bag with a $500,000 in it and roll out of the ring. So winners are the Dead Riders and Young Bucks. Alright, Brody King knocks them both out and the bag goes flying. Excuse me, goes flying. The post match beatdown continues until we hear some ominous music out of nowhere. Darby Allin appears in the ring. He jumps out on the back of John Moxley like Tommy Davidson to Jim Carrey in the second Ace Minister. Okay, he wildly wings away from their mystery man, knocks Allen down from behind. He takes his hoodie off to reveal he is none other than Dan Garcia. He has a stone cold look in his eye. A loud asshole chant breaks out from the Philly crowd. And the chant it turns into a "You sold out" chant. Moxley and Shafir joins Garcia in the ring with a steel chair. They lay it down, and Garcia grabs Allen's back his bag, and stomps his head into the chair unprotected as fans loudly chant "Fuck you, Danny." Garcia leads with the Dead Riders as a show, and so that's how the show finishes. So yeah, I thought it was Hook for a second with the hood on because he always wears a hood so much and stuff. So yeah, but anyways, Danny Garcia turned bad and stuff and joined the Dead Riders. So yeah, that was crazy, but yeah, it was a alright show and stuff. Some of the matches were good and all that. So, anyways, that was this for video. Hope you like it. Not whatever. So, subscribe, hit the button, leave a comment. Hey guys, want to leave a comment stuff. I can't guys. I can't even talk right now. That was it, and I'm sorry guys. The camera was messing up a little bit, kind of. I don't know. So yeah. Anyways, that was it. I'll see you guys Friday night for Friday Night SmackDown. All right. Laters.